The Mix 88.5 Property Update, brought to you by the award-winning Tudor Group, developers of Tudor Villas and in the final stages of Tudor Court Condominium, Pratham Nack Soi 2. The Tudor Group, Thai lifestyle, European standards.
Welcome to this week's Property Update at Mix 88.5. Guest, as always, in the studio is Tim Gladwin.
The Mix 88.5 Property Update.
So good afternoon and welcome to another Property Update on Mix 88.5. It's a Wednesday midweek. As with us always, Tim Gladwin in the studio from Salmons, Thailand. You want to get hold of Tim or ask any questions about some of the things we raise over the duration of the show. 038 252 588 is the phone number, and Patia at salmonsthailand.com is the email address. Tim, good afternoon. Good week so far?
Afternoon, Russell. Yes, much the same. Not a great deal has changed. I think it's fair to say that business-wise, it's been very steady.
It's always nice.
Yeah, I mean, we're not overloaded with new inquiries, but it's far from quiet. You know, steady is I suppose a good word. But you know, no complaints. Although bearing in mind that we are now in what we would typically consider to be the core of the high season, so far as the property market is concerned, then, you know, it would be nice if it was a little bit busier, I suppose. If it's going to go crazy, this is the sort of time of the year that you would hope it would happen. But like I say, it's steady rather than crazy.
Is it normally the crazy period now then? This is now a little bit slow for high season?
It tends to get much busier as the post-Christmas arrivals start. Now, as I think we mentioned last week, the Brits and some of the other Western Europeans have not necessarily arrived in quite the numbers that they will at some stage. But I understand the Russian market is still very busy. So I think, yeah, it's getting busier, and it will likely get a bit busier still from where we are now. But nevertheless, you know, there's certainly no reason to think anything untoward is happening.
Do you think it may be just a little bit of the Chinese New Year onslaught rather early, so therefore people have delayed something?
Very possible. It really is. You know, obviously it is a very early Chinese New Year this year. I've not been around town the last few days to notice what the numbers are like. I have been extremely busy on a personal level, but like I say, the inquiries that we're getting are steady rather than out of control.
Yeah, I haven't looked around the town yet either, because I just wanted to keep out the way when I knew it was Chinese New Year. I thought, well, I'll just keep out the way for a little bit, keep up to the eastern side of the country, the town, and stay away from the madness if and when it develops. I did hear lots of fireworks going off to wake you up in the morning or keep you awake at night, whichever way they were going. But they were all day, all night. It didn't really care what sort of environment you're in or what was happening to the other people. My kids woken up in bed at 8 o'clock, 8:30 yesterday. When was yesterday? Tuesday,
yeah,
Monday.
Yeah.
Fireworks going off. Oh, what was that? What's that? Fireworks? No, go to sleep.
No, we obviously don't have any Chinese neighbours because we've not had any this year. So, which is all to the good.
Which is always nice. So basically, business is okay for high season or for this time of year, and things are ticking along. No reason to think that it's not going to be another good year or better than it has been.
No, not at all. I mean, I do tend to keep an eye out, looking at what's happening generally in the town, and obviously using that to try to guide me and the advice that I give as to what the future might hold. Obviously, there are all sorts of things that you can look at, all sorts of indicators for how things are in town, how things are going to be in the future. A couple of things that I noticed recently was the Patia area won an award at the International Association of Golf Tourism Operators. They had their annual conference. I think it was in Barbados or something. And
I wasn't invited.
Unfortunately not, I guess. But they said that they awarded Patia the award for the best golfing destination in Asia and Australasia. Bearing in mind the competition, particularly in Australia, you know, quite a prestigious award, no doubt, and no doubt richly deserved, because obviously, as we've discussed previously, there are some really very, very good golf facilities around here. I also read actually that Siam Country Club, they already have the old course, which is championship standard, particularly since the redesign, which is 18 holes. Then they've got the new course, Plantation course. Yeah. I think that's 27 holes, which again is absolutely fantastic. I think that hosts the Honda LPGA next month.
Yep.
And they've announced that they're now building a further 18 holes as well, which presumably will be of the same standard again.
Wow.
And, you know, not only does it bring more golf holes to the region, but it brings absolutely top quality championship golf holes to the region. And I think anyone who's played Siam Country Club, any of the courses in the last 3 or 4 years, would be inclined to agree with that. I did similar at the Amata Springs when they were supposed to be playing the Royal Trophy, and they prepared the course for it, but then it was cancelled at the last minute because of the death of a member of the royal family. And we played a competition on there. And the holes were the greens were so hard that the ball would literally roll over the edge of the hole, and it wouldn't seem to divert. The rough, well, I nearly broke my wrist a couple of times. It was horrendous.
And obviously golf doing really well in this part of the world. Lots of nice golf courses. And PAGS were out over the other day. Yesterday, was it? Tuesday, 125 at PAGS, so down at Fairways, a busy one there. And I do believe even Simon from Tudor Villas, Tudor Court, was out playing. So I suppose that means Tudor Court must be very close to finishing if he's got plenty of time to go out on the golf course.
Yeah, I must say, I've never played golf with Simon, but I know he used to sponsor the evening league at the Pitch and Putt at the Asia Hotel. So he's obviously an enthusiast.
Yes, he does get down and sponsor the PAGS as well at Fairways. So apart from that, other things going on. We've been talking about other people coming into town after the floods and other things. Expansion, that still looks like we're really in right territory for that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we did suggest that perhaps on the back of the flooding, particularly of the industrial estates in Ayutthaya and north of Bangkok, that there would be a likely benefit for the Eastern Seaboard region, in that with those estates in the Ayutthaya and North Bangkok being in floodplains, one would anticipate that the threat of future floods would make some of the companies reassess their situation. Just out of the blue, a friend of mine, we were at football Saturday morning a couple of Saturdays ago, and he works for a big company in Amata City, and he mentioned that during the previous week, 8 new companies who had been in those industrial estates in Ayutthaya, North Bangkok, had signed contracts to move to Amata City.
Wow.
Just in that 1 week. Now, I don't know what had happened before that. Obviously, it's been a while since the floods were at the worst. I don't know what's happened since that, and I don't know what's happened in other industrial estates, but I think it's probably fair to say that must be an indication that exactly what we thought would happen is happening. And obviously, if you are getting this new influx of big companies coming to the region, moving into the industrial estates here, there are all sorts of benefits for the region generally. Many of them obviously in real estate, because you've got particularly the management staff who will be looking for property down here, whether it's to rent or to buy. Just all, it's all positive for the region.
I suppose it's got good for everything, as business has got to go up in general, because there's going to be a lot more new business and new people around. Therefore, across the board, business gets better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if it's related at all, but we got a newsletter from the St Andrew's School where my son goes after Christmas, and Andy Harrison, the headmaster, was mentioning that I think they'd had 25 new students start after the Christmas holiday. Obviously, that's halfway through a school year, and certainly not, therefore, the traditional time you would have thought for new kids to start. That would be more likely, one would have thought, at the start of the school year. But 25 new kids, I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know if it's related to the new businesses moving down here, but it seems to me that it's a very significant influx of kids when you're talking about a school that has a total student population of, I think, little over 400 pupils.
It's a big chunk that have gone in then.
It is, and again, if you're looking at indicators, one would, I think it's a fair conclusion to draw is that obviously new people with enough money or a job that pays them a good enough package that they can send their kids to a good international school, and they're moving into the region. Like I say, I don't know if it is tied up with the movement of these companies into the industrial estates, but one would anticipate that it may well be. But again, whether it is or not, it's a positive for the region. It's indicative that more people with a reasonable amount of money are coming here. And again, if those people are coming here, they always need somewhere to live. And so from a property perspective, obviously it's got to be positive.
Yeah, which is always good. Now, I do see some of the other industrial estates doing a lot of marketing now. Some of the things I go and do in Bangkok, I see that they are now saying that, we are here and we are not going to be able to get flooded. We're at X amount of feet above sea level. We've got this going, we've got that going. So there's something that they've made a forceful effort and just to say, yes, if you do come here, it is going to be safe from any future flooding. So something that we've been saying, maybe they're all tuning in and listening to what we were saying, and now they've decided, yes, let's make a ploy and bring these people down. Do you think it's going to keep on going, expanding?
Well, I do. I think, actually, long before the floods were an issue, a high proportion of the new foreign direct investment into Thailand, a high proportion of the new commercial development in terms of factories and so forth, they've been on the in the Eastern Seaboard industrial estates for some time. I think a lot of the older industrial estates are in Ayutthaya, north of Bangkok, that they're longer established. I think in recent times, the 38 or so industrial estates that are down here have been growing very, very rapidly, have been doing great business. Obviously, they talk about the area as being the Detroit of the East in terms of the amount of car factories and car component factories that are down here. It's been a real success story. And of course, from the perspective of Pattaya has, to a very large extent, been the focal point as a city for these industrial estates, even though some of them might be 40, 45 kilometres away. Nevertheless, a lot of the families, the expat families coming here, they've used Pattaya, and that's why the hospitals, the schools, the general infrastructure aimed at foreigners has improved quite so significantly, I think.
Yeah.
You know, on one hand, obviously, it's there to cater to the tourists, the retirees, but obviously, in many ways, your best demographic as a business is those people who are working and earning good money, because they tend to spend more. They have kids, and
which costs you a fortune.
Which costs you a fortune. So, you know, that, I'm sure, has been a big catalyst for Pattaya's growth, and in particular the growth of the infrastructure here.
I'd imagine also that people, if they're looking at that and saying, let's put our company away from Ayutthaya and put it down into one of the industrial estates down here, they can look around and say, well, there's plenty to do, because there are now lots of golf courses and more coming up. There is the international schools, the hospitals, and lots of other things to do. And also now something on the same sort of lines, there's extra football for the kids as well now, which I've just noticed, because previous to last Saturday, there wasn't much for the really young kids to do. And now there is. I see that Planet Football last week kicked off their first session of regular football training for kids in the 4 to 6 years bracket. Yeah. And previously, there was not much sport around for kids of that age group. Bangkok, tons of it. But
no,
it
really is a fantastic facility. You know, state-of-the-art surfaces, the AstroTurf, which is really, really good to play on. And you can actually use your normal football boots on there. My lad, as you know, has been going along for quite some time, and the time he's been going, the growth of it has been very impressive. There's lots of kids going along there, and at a weekend, the place is a hive of activity, a real centre for the community. And there's training on Saturday, games on Sunday. It's a lot of fun.
Good, and now from 4 years old upwards. So if you've got a kid in that sort of bracket age group, 4 to 6 years old, you want to get them into a bit of sport, a bit of football, then Planet Football is the place to go. It's our property update, as we do every week here at Mix 88.5. Time to have a quick look at the exchange rates today. I'm not sure whether that's everyone else getting good, or the Thai baht weakening just a little bit, as I think everything has come up this week. The pound up at 49.21 from 48.66 last week. The US dollar is the only one that's made a little dive downwards at 31.52, which is 31.7. Hardly worth mentioning, but there's lots of things going on in America at the moment. Is anybody got any confidence in America or the political system there?
Not personally, but
good. Okay.
They do sort of defeat themselves. The strong candidate, the strongest, or who appeared to be the strongest candidate in the Republican Party, it's now turned out that he's paying hardly any tax on his enormous income each year.
Yes.
And that's really not going to appeal to the electorate,
no.
One would have thought.
Oh, well, I wouldn't be voting for him if that was me. He's, I think they said this morning on the BBC that he was earning $20 million a year out of his investments over the last couple of years and paying 15% tax, which
I think it was even slightly lower than that, which, it should be at least 15, but I think it was about 13% that he declared in the end.
And his secretary is actually paying more tax than him.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was one of the other comments. I think Mr. Obama put that one up and said he shouldn't pay... Her secretary shouldn't pay any less tax or any more tax than you. The Aussie dollar still going up again. I still say we should invest in there somehow. 33.15 this week from 32.9, so it's up a little bit. And even the lowly old euro has gone up this week, 41.03 from 40.5. So I'm guessing that it's a weaker Thai baht than.
Well, I'm not really sure. I mean, what I would say is that there don't seem to have been too many headlines about sovereign debt recently. Things seem to have gone a little bit quiet. Whether that's good news or not, I really don't know. But maybe, obviously, bearing in mind that it's headlines that seem to drive these things, maybe the lack of bad headlines has given some people comfort and made them increase in value again. But it's very hard to say. I think, the relatively small changes, and they seem to jump up and down between two main sort of bookends, and we're just stuck in the middle, going up and down each week at the moment.
Okay,
seemingly.
And maybe it's sorting out with itself with the Greek debt. They've now decided that 50% is the haircut that everyone's sort of being forced to take. So this week, if you want to buy your condo at Tudor Court, 2 million baht will set you back $63,441 US, 40,634 if you're spending your British pounds, and 48,739 of those horrible euro things. That's your current price for a 2 million baht condo at Tudor Court this week. Which leads us on to our property of the week, a very nice one again.
Yeah, lovely pool villa. Was 7.5 million, now down to 4.5 million. 3 beds, 3 baths, really beautiful property, lovely inside and out, really nice landscape gardens, a relatively generously proportioned plot. I think it's 125 square wa, 500 square meters, lovely big swimming pool. Like I say, really nice inside, but also a really nice big covered outdoor sitting area with proper furniture, which really does do well in this country. It's nice to be able to sit outside.
I do like to sit outside, but not directly under the sun. Yes,
and that's what I really like, those big covered sitting areas when they're done nicely. This house has one of those. It's really very nice indeed. Like I say, lovely pool, lovely garden. The owner wants to move, or needs to move out of Thailand quickly, and therefore it's gone down from 7.5 million to 4.5, which is obviously an enormous percentage decrease, and it's a great deal.
Yeah, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, and a pool for 4.5 million. That is extremely nice. If you want to know more about that, contact him at his office, 038 252 588. The email address, patia@solmansthailand.com, or on the web. I imagine it's on your webpage at the moment, is it?
I hope so.
Otherwise, a slap for the staff. solmansthailand.com is where you can get hold of it on the webpage. And we'll be back same time, same place next week for another edition of the Property Update, and bring you another nice one of those Property of the Week. As always, Tim, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you, Russell.
That's it for this week. We'll see you again, same time, same place next week for the Property Update.
The Mix 88.5 Property Update, brought to you by the award-winning Tudor Group, developers of Tudor Villas, and in the final stages of Tudor Court Condominium, Pratam Nak Soi 2. The Tudor Group, Thai lifestyle, European standards.